we need to submit to this higher level source or so. How do we submit? How do we do that?
Yeah, you start by the practice of principles. Of course, the normal way you would have heard about this same approach would be to go to some building or go to some place where God is, and then you meet God there and do all kinds of religious. No, for me, no. Just start with the practice of, it's deeper than practice, but start. The first step is start with practice of principles. And like I've always said, this is not like one man has the solution that will say, do this, do this, do this. All right?
Mm-hmm.
This, what can be done is to lead you, is to lead you to where the solution is. And the solution, you see, the reason you came to life, this reason you came to this world, and all of the attributes that you came to this world with, and the destiny, so to speak, the things that must happen as a result of things that had happened, and then the new insight into what should be done now so that you can fit into your own place as a thread in this whole piece of cloth. All of that, in a way, even though you've forgotten most of them the way you were, in a way, you still have a way to connect to them. They are not completely abstract. And only you can connect to them. No third party. The best that any man can see of that is to, okay, by destiny, by what you have done in the past, some good have been prepared for you in the future. And also by the evil seed that you have planted, by the seeds that you have planted in the past that are not so good, they were more about self. Some they have not. They will bear fruit, and those fruits have been kept in the future for you to harvest, not too pleasant fruits. So when somebody sees you and says, I see something, that is what they are seeing, because these things are already there, because they must happen as a result of the seed that you have planted in the past. So whether it comes in the form of prophecy or in the form of somebody reading something, they must happen in your life. They are already there. So it is because they are already there, that is why somebody is seeing it. And that is the best anybody can see. The ones that you have not written by your practice of principle or otherwise today is blank. So nobody can see it, not even you. So all of these things, they, in a way, although not very plainly written, in a way encoded in you, and only you would be able to have access by your dreams, by manifestation, by the way that the universe communicates with you individually. Only you will be able to decode these things as they apply to your life. Nobody, no one else. Everybody is even trying and struggling to decode theirs. So no one else will come and read your whole life. You don't even know it. Even you do not know it, because you have not even planted the seed today that would result. That's why we say your tomorrow is in your hands. You can mold your tomorrow right now by what you think today. Anyway, we used to say what we do, but by our explanation of thought now, it's more about the kind of thoughts that you release today. Your future is not even built. So whether your future is going to be great or not so great depends on the thoughts. So just like the thought is the initial stage, the first step that you must take to go into imagination and then to build the kind of world. Because we said that the things that are seen come from the things that are not seen. In other words, the world, the tangible world that you build around you comes from the unseen thoughts that you generate from within you. That's just the meaning. We're taking these things from abstract to something you can relate with now. Just thoughts, not some magic. So only you know, and therefore only you can connect. The way to connect is to take control of your mind. If you do not have a mind, your mind is sold to something else, some religion, or that's the most common thing that will take your mind, then you are not in the position to ask these questions you are asking and deliberate. I mean, it's one thing to ask, it's another thing to say whatever he's saying is, I mean, they are just coming in here and going through the other way. But it's another thing to really deliberate and consider it for a while and see if you can make something meaningful out of it and then give it a try. Because if you do not try by the practice of principle, then you cannot be elevated to that place where you are now in control of what happens to you. Right now, somebody may be here. I've counseled so many people. And during the counseling, they'll say, wow, what you are saying is making sense. It makes sense. Where did you learn all of this from? It makes a lot of sense. But the minute they leave the counseling session, they've forgotten that they were able counseled. They are back to the same old life. Nothing changes. So much that even I will give up on them. You cannot be saying the same thing because the principle is the same, does not change. So even if you come back to me in 3 years and say, I still have this problem, I'm still going to say the same thing. And then you come back to me, I'm going to wonder, I'm wasting my time. So why am I saying the same thing over and over? You're not even making any attempt. Of course, if you tell me you make attempt, I'm going to tell you, no, you do not make attempt because the fruit that I see of you does not show that you are doing or thinking along the path you should think. Your fruit is built around your thought, around your deeds. Your fruit, by your fruit, I can judge, maybe not conclusively, but to a very large extent, I can tell who you are. So you cannot bear fruits that are not eatable, and then you tell me you are a good tree. To you, you appear like a good tree, but it takes something bigger, external of you to tell you, and only that can tell you, because it's most difficult for a fellow human being to come and tell you you are bad, no matter how we want to decorate that to tell you you are your own problem, especially when you are going through midlife crisis. It's really impossible for somebody to tell you, come, you are your own problem. But only yourself can tell you. Only your inner can tell you. Only your connection with your other part can tell you. Because you cannot fight yourself. Yourself can only tell you the truth. So that's why some of these things, we don't want to judge you by telling you, by even giving you possibilities. We are saying, come to the level where you can connect with where your inner, by thoughts, can connect you with the universe. And the universe will lead you and teach you and show you the answers to these things that you want to know. Otherwise, in my own case, I went to the extreme one time and I called this person and I asked a question because I was just feeling, you can do better than this. Why are you in this state? Okay, since you have refused to think, let me think for you. Did this kind of thing ever happen in your life at one point or another? And that was the last time. It was offensive. How could I ask him that such a deep personal question? It's been a couple of years now. That was the last time the person talked to me. So I cannot go to that extent of asking you deep questions that will hurt you just to solve your own problem. Only you can come to that level where your own self will not ask you. In fact, yourself is not asking you because yourself knows. Yourself will not ask you. This will tell you. Do you remember this? And then once he says, do you remember this? You already know. Why would he ask you, do you remember something that happened if it was not connected with what you are facing? And because he's telling you, do you remember this? Do you remember this? As soon as he's telling you, he's also offering, this is what we need to do now. And most of the time, it's not like a one-time solution. You just do it and things turn around. No, you are going through school. It's schooling. It's years of schooling. And until you get that and learn that lesson, maybe this time the lesson is not the common lessons of patience, faithfulness, and all the common virtues. Maybe the lesson now is whatever you are getting that will last, you must first suffer for it. Maybe that's just the lesson. And then when it is now known that you have overcome that particular that particular shortcoming, then they know the right time to reward you. All the rewards that have been accruing that was hidden from you, you'll be let into it. So although